Yeah, we supply the Army, the Marines, the Air Force. Not sure whether we ever made any for the Navy or not. But we supply most of the armed forces with the boots that we make here in
I mean, the whole armed forces you do. So,
yeah. What we do is we bid on contracts. Let me tell you, right here you're in McRae Industries. You're in our corporate office, and our corporate office houses our human resources, our accounting and finance, and our IT department for the entire company. And then we've got two main subsidiaries, McRae Footwear, which is located just down the road here in Wadeville, and Dan Post Boot Company, which is located in Clarksville, Tennessee. And McRae Footwear manufactures military combat boots for the armed forces. We also do some for some foreign countries. We make some for Israel, and we make some for other various little foreign countries, such as Brunei, Panama, Bolivia, different countries we'll make some boots for. And we've been doing that since, well, my father started the company in 1959, and I've got an annual report. And inside of the annual report is a little write-up on my father and just the starting of the company and how he got it started. We made children's shoes till about 1967, and then we bid on a government contract. The way we made the children's shoes, the way we put the bottoms on was the same way they wanted, very similar to the way they wanted to put the bottoms on the boots in Vietnam, because they kept falling off the soldiers because they were stitched on. The stitches rotted out with all the moisture. So they wanted to vulcanize the sole on, and the way we made the children's shoes was very similar to that. So we weren't doing real well making children's shoes. We were not making any money, so we bid on a government contract in 1967 and were successful. We've made military boots here ever since. We've made over 15 million pairs of military boots since 1967. And
how many pairs?
Over 15.
My God.
Over 15 million. Yeah.
Since when?
Since 1967. Yep. We've been making boots constantly since then. And the boots for the U.S. government, we have to bid on contracts. And the contracts vary, and the low man gets the boots. Now, they take into account sometimes your quality, your delivery, your socio-economic program. And so those are weighed sometimes. And
do you bid annually, or?
Well, most of the contracts now we bid, and there's a base year and 4 option years. So what you have to do is bid 5 years in advance.
Wow.
Because if you're a successful awardee, you will get the base year, and then you have to give them a price for 4 option years. And so you got to try to figure out what the price of leather is going to be, what labor is going to be, and it's, and then that's the price. And
so where do you buy your leather from?
There's 2 tanneries here in the U.S. There's a third one just opened up. SB Foot up in, that's owned by Red Wing Shoe, and then there's another one called Tasman, which is up in the Northeast. And a new tannery, Tantec, just opened up down in Mississippi. That's one of the problems with making shoes in the U.S. is the footwear industry left the U.S. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and so there's not much infrastructure. Most of the shoes made in the U.S. are either military boots or some high-priced boots or something. 98% of your shoes are imported, and 80% of those come from China. And that's just the way it is. And so there's not much infrastructure here to support a shoe industry because it's so small now. The reason that military boots are made here, and we can make military boots successfully, is because they have to be made in the U.S. by the Berry Amendment. There's an amendment that says that the military boots have to be made in the United States. And so if that wasn't the case, they'd probably be imported. And
that's a shame.
Yeah,
We're in America. Yeah,
that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Now, and so we make the boots here, and we've got 2 plants here that we make the boots in Mount Gilly, Detroit. And the Dan Post Boot Company is a completely different company. It's a completely different strategy because we're selling to the public. And we don't manufacture anymore. We import all those boots. We source them. And we design them, and they make them to our specifications, but we import the boots we've got 2 or 3 plants in Mexico, 7 or 8 in China, and 2 in India.
So part of your structure was initially you started making children's shoes.
And for McRae footwear, yeah, that's
So
where
you started with children's shoes to military.
And then and then in 1996 we bought a small Western boot company called American West, and it wasn't doing but about $7 million a year. So, but we bought it, and we actually thought that Western boots would always be made in the U.S. And they actually, when we bought them in 1996, they had a couple of plants in Tennessee making Western boots. But we kept trying to do that, and we were not very successful at it because a lot of our competitors had gone offshore. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have a good brand. We just had our own American West brand, which wasn't a well-known brand. So in 2004, we made a big decision. We decided that we needed to go offshore if we were going to be successful. And the other thing we needed to do was buy some brands. So we went offshore, went to China and started making some boots, went to Mexico, and we found a couple of good brands that were out there for sale, and we bought the Dan Post brand, and the Dingo brand, and the Laredo brand.
Dingo, you own Dingo?
We own Dingo. Yeah, we bought that brand, and we bought these brands over a period of about 5 or 6 years, and going to China and buying the brands and going to Mexico is what made us successful at Dan Post. Now we renamed it from American West to Dan Post Boot Company. All of our higher priced shoes are made in Mexico. They're handcrafted. Your exotics, your lizards, your ostrich, your caiman, your alligator. We got the snake, python. All those are made down in Mexico.
Place these. Now that particular piece, she kind of uses that as a work-in piece where she's already cut the.
Okay. So let's see how you do it.
We'll watch you work. I'm kind of interested to see that myself too. When you lap that piece over, it doesn't make a big thick lump.
Okay. Gotcha.
What does that do now?
It's just a little mark so you know how to line the pieces up to sew them together. Again, this is that flame retardant too. Now what she's doing is putting the loop on the boot to put the boot legs through. When she first started working with it, she started to see what Sharon was doing over there. They're flawless.
That must not be true. She's glad.
She knows I went drinking for lunch, don't you? Quality assurance. And it's just pure steam. That's all he's doing to make it so that you can get that pliable and soft. And that leather is heavy and stiff.
Okay, so you're steaming it.
And then we call that toe action. All he's doing is pulling the front part of the boot over the last.
How long do you steam them?
Right now they're running about, well time right here is about 10 seconds to shoe on this particular style. Some of those styles they run about 6 to 7 seconds. It varies between 10 to 15 seconds by the time I finish. So, it's about 10 minutes a case. It takes about 10, 12 minutes to run a case of shoes.
Okay.
Each one of these guys kind of set their own pace on it. He knows how fast he can run that machine. And those knobs that he's putting it over, it's got a little bit of steam coming up through there just to soften the material. And it's an assembly line process. What's the issue? As soon as he turns the speaker off, I'll tell you. Shipping and warehouse parts. That tag has the style, the size, the order number. We ship everything. Now the Israeli boots, we tell the Israelis are ready for shipment, they bring the truck in. We do 53-foot trucks. U.S. government.
How to be successful at that. And so that's what we've done, and we've got good people in all areas of the company. That's key to that. I think that's one of the keys to it is hiring as many A players as you can and getting the people in the right seat on the bus.
There you go.
Because
That's right.
the bus is moving. You got to have everybody in the right seat.
Yes.
They say about human resources, you recruit, you recruit,
Retain.
hire,
Train and pay.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's key to it. It's having good people. If you don't have good, because look, we got 500 something employees, and I'm not everywhere. Don't want to be everywhere. What I like to do is KOK in human resources. What I like to do is lay out what a person's got to do, what the objectives are. I'm not a micromanager. And you got a job to do. And if you need some help doing it, let me know, on training or whatever. But, and I think most people like that. I want people that want that. Mm-hmm. That want to have that challenge of doing their job and nobody looking over their shoulder. like I said, it's hard to get the job done. It's hard for somebody working on the car engine to get the job done, and somebody's always blowing the horn.
If your dad can say one thing to you right now, what would he tell you?
I was gonna ask that, but I didn't know that was too.
Yeah, because I know I remember your daddy.
Yeah.
What would he say to you right now? I know what he would say to me. I know what he would say. What you think he would say to you right now?
You know, it's a good question. I really haven't. I really haven't. You know what my dad always said, and I don't know whether he would say this because I didn't follow his philosophy a whole lot in this area. But somebody asked him if he wanted to sell something, and he'd always say, "I'm a buyer, not a seller." And he enjoyed work. And what he would say to me, I think, is, Gary, work as long as you enjoy it. Continue, doing the things you're doing, and I'm proud of what you guys have done, and continue to work as long as it's fun for you. But he would be proud of what we've done. Ain't no doubt in my mind about that. But my dad was an entrepreneur, and I'll be the first to admit that he was a much better entrepreneur than I could ever be, because he loved to get into stuff and really get down to details of it. Whenever he got into something, he latched on, and he understood that he was a detailed kind of guy, and he latched on to it. We had the restaurant up there. He'd spend nights at home making biscuits, figuring out how to make a better biscuit. He would mess up the whole kitchen with flour and stuff. My mom would complain. He'd have the pots out there. He'd figure out how to make a better biscuit. Now that's God's dedicated to that restaurant, and he was dedicated to. I'm a little bit different in that I wanted to concentrate on a couple